Hello and welcome. I am back out on the deck. It is a glorious spring day out here. There's a lot of kids screaming and dogs in the neighborhood. But earlier, last fall, I talked about the grill peeling. We're going to revisit that here in a second. A lot of people have been clicking on that video and checking it out. I just thought I would do an update because in the spring there is some grill stuff that you should take care of right now before the season gets started. First off, let's open this bad boy up. And again, here is all of that carbon that is not paint. It's just carbon. It's perfectly safe. I'm not going to eat it again. You can go watch the other video or actually put it in my mouth. It doesn't taste like anything, but it's just, I don't know, it's just carbon. It's weird. All right. So I'm going to worry more about that though actually after I use the grill for the first time and it gets warmed up. That's the best time to get that stuff cleaned up, is when it's warm. It is spring though, so we need to check out our equipment and make sure that we're set for the season. The first thing, pull out your warmer basket. Mine has a lot of corrosion. This thing hardly actually ever gets used. It looks fine. We're going to need a wire brush though, because there is a lot of corrosion on it. But as you can see, with just with just a couple of swipes though with a wire brush, all of that stuff, don't walk under it, dogs. Just all of that garbage. We'll do this over the grill actually. So that's that half done. That's that half done. So we're set. It's a little rusty. We're going to go ahead and oil this though really nicely here in a minute. So that basket looks good. Doesn't need to be replaced. The next thing is, I forget what they call this thing. They can't call it the warming tray because that's the warming basket. I'm not sure what the hell this thing's called. It's the same thing though. First thing, check and make sure that it's all nicely welded together. It's not going to fall apart on you. Mine is still perfectly good. Wire brush time though, because we got a lot of rust and corrosion built up over the winter. So we're just going to go ahead and knock that off, and we're going to give that an oil here in a minute too. All right, the most important equipment though, because that garbage you can throw away and who cares. The next most important piece of equipment though is your grates. There are a number of different styles of grates available. Here is what I have to show you. I have one other model. Son of a bitch.
Harley.
Never mind the door falling off. All right. These are your typical porcelain on steel grates. That's just steel rod of some sort. I'm not a metallurgist, what do I know? And then there is a porcelain coating that's applied to these, pretty much the same as the tops. So this stuff is, even though they are the low-end Weber grates, they're very nice. They'll last you forever. This is my original set. They're still, I can clean these up and use them tomorrow if I wanted to. Let's see if I have to though. Man, I caught a brush wire right in the thumb. It hurts. What I have here though, these are the cast iron grates. And even though they do have a porcelain coating on them, it wears off. Cast iron is a very porous metal. There's a lot of changes and fluctuations when it heats and cools, and the porcelain will eventually start chipping off. I don't know if you can see that, but I've got some of that going on. But honestly, I'm not too worried. It's still cast iron. It's still totally safe to eat on. Good hot temperature, and so we're gonna get some oil on those. The best time to clean these though is when they're warm. I'm just doing a visual inspection right now. And all of these look good to go. We're gonna heat those up the same time I oil and we get everything else put away. We'll get these cleaned up and taken care of. They're good. All right, and then this one as well. Just check front and back. You don't want loose pieces of metal or anything falling off. But yet again, even though there is that porcelain's gone and there is some corrosion starting, it's still perfectly safe to use. All right, so here's the parts that you probably never touch because it's below the grates, and this is actually the stuff that can get kind of dangerous if you don't take care of. So I want to talk to you about this. These are flavorizer bars. If you remember back in the day, there used to be volcanic rock in the bottom of gas grills. You remember that? And it was awful. Why is that? Well, because the rock, like water and grease would hit the rocks would chip. People were eating that rock crap. Throw all that garbage away if you got that on your grill. What they do now though is they lay these bars right across the flame. The grease hits them and it causes, you know, all sorts of smoke and flavor to fire up from those. But I mean, these things are now pounded on constantly with cooler oil. There's a hot fire underneath, and these are the things that wear out on you. Though this one was pretty good last season. Let's take a look and see where we're at though. So you're gonna need a wire brush to scrub all that garbage off of it. And this one is still good. It is solid all the way through. That one's still good. Though I am going to show you one. This one actually got rotated out of commission. There's 5 flavorizer bars and only 3 burners, so there's 2 of them that don't get used very much, and this is one that got swapped in. Now this is one that's been in there since day one. Now you can already see this thing is full of holes. Let's give this a scrub, and I mean, unfortunately, we're gonna slide it back in today, but this needs to be replaced. That is no good anymore. These bars need to be in place too. I'm not gonna walk you through all of them. I lied. No, I'm not gonna walk you through all of these. We're gonna go through though and clean those up here in a minute. The next thing though for you to pay attention to now is your burners. Can you see the burners down in there on that camera? Here, do you want to just kind of lift you can just lift the whole works up and come closer to me. And then let's look in on these burners. Perfect. Okay. So here we go. Middle burner, back burner, front burner. And once again, a visual inspection will really tell the tale. And what you want to look for is that all the holes are individual. They haven't run together. There aren't any long gashes. And every single one of my holes still looks like the day it was factory stamped, to be quite honest. There's also a connector tube down here at the end that bridges the flame between them all. And that one also looks pretty good. There is corrosion. These things will wear out eventually, but today they look great. All right, now for the messy Marvin part. I'm gonna use a board scraper to help me out here. What I'm doing is I'm scooping carefully around these burners. I'm scooping all of that corrosion and that junk and years worth of God knows what down into the part that you've probably never cleaned. And I've personally been witness to 3 grill fires in my life. They are scary. I'll show you how it happens. Down in the bottom, way below all your burners and all your other junk, there's a tray. It's a removable tray. Pops right out, and it's going to be full of ash and garbage. Now you're seeing a lot of rust in here because I cleaned off my flavorizer bars right over top. That's just how I do it. I don't need to wander off into the woods to clean this stuff. I just do it right over the grill. Funnel's all right down in here. We're going to go ahead and throw that away. This is, if you've ever dealt with any of the pans, it's probably the small disposable one that's below. But you need to slide this whole tray off, and you know, you're going to need to get over a garbage can, and you're going to want to scrape down all of this, because that's what lights on fire. All of that old oil and garbage all packs up. Eventually someday that hits the right temperature, that whole thing starts burning and you can't put it out. It is not a fun experience. I'll let other people tell you how to deal with the fire. I can tell you how I dealt with the fire though. Generally we had to remove the pan from the situation, get it off and away from the grill without anyone getting hurt. It was pretty dangerous. So clean this out. Clean it out today. It's spring. You're gonna start grilling. Clean that bad boy out. So I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna stop the cameras here for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything kind of cleaned and prepped up. There's one last step that we need to do that involves some water and soap. We got to check the gas line real quick. It shouldn't be any problem. So I'm going to be back in just a minute. Turn it back on. Okay, so here we go. I have just finished up cleaning everything up. I used no more than a wire brush and a board scraper to just get in there and do everything. Use a little paper towel in my own hands, but you know, it's really not that messy of an ordeal though once you get in there. It's you just got to pull the parts out and use, you know, scrub them up. There's metal corrosion, and this is kind of something that most people don't kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis, but a wire brush is what you need, and a little elbow grease. So the next move here, you're gonna have to probably move the camera for this one. But after spring, we're gonna just wanna double check all of our gas connections. So I've gone ahead and hooked up my propane tank and I'm gonna turn it on. Do you see me?
I can see you, but I can't see what you're doing.
Okay, well I'm just turning the gas tank on. Now what I'm gonna do though is I've got a little brush here and some soap and water. I'm just gonna paint it around all the hoses. We'll grab the camera here. All right. So what I'm doing here is I've just got soap and water, and I'm just painting my connections with it. And now there are bubbles there because it's kind of sudsy, but what you want to do though is just look and see if any new bubbles are forming.
Probably another bear, no.
I mean, if there's a leak, you'll see it. Nope, we look good. So I think we're all set to go. Just do that once in a while though, to make sure that, you know, you don't have any sort of hose leak or whatever. I'm just speaking, you know, I can just talk about Weber anyways, but their customer service, if you did end up with a hose cracked or something over the season, they would totally help you out in getting that hose replaced. They want you to be safe. So our next move here now is to simply turn on the front burner, ignite it, that's middle burner, and rear burner. Okay, and now at this point we're just gonna let this thing heat up. I'm gonna give it a really good scrubbing with this. We don't even have anything planned to cook. I'm just want to get it all scrubbed up. I'm also gonna take a towel and we'll get the whole inside wiped down and everything. But here, let's just grab the camera and I want to show you. I don't know if you can tell, but what I did was I picked out the 3 best flavorizer bars and put them over the front, middle, and back burner, and then the 2 crummy flavorizer bars now are in the unburner spot. You do want to replace these though. You don't want the grease to fall all the way through necessarily. If it can hit one of those flavorizer bars, that's optimal. So on our next shopping trip, we're gonna make sure to add Weber Genesis flavorizer bars to our list. Gonna go ahead and reapply these, and simply that oiling process I was talking about, dead simple. Just take some vegetable oil or even some Pam, just paint it down with it and let it sit while it's cooling down and you'll be good. So we'll get this wiped up. That's spring cleaning. So from me to you, happy grilling this season. Love you guys. Bye.